welcome back to Division Therapy, episode 8. And
Wow,
man,
episode 8. That's crazy.
episode 8, that is
That's
really
crazy.
crazy.
The season's going by so fast.
I want to say thank you once again to everybody who's tuned in and listened. This has so far been a bunch of fun. This kind of started just as Brett and I talking, but a lot of people have interacted with it. So that's been a ton of fun. So we say, thank you. And once again, follow on our socials for clippable content. But yeah, let's get right into it. Brett, we start with the Mets every
Yeah, it's all
time.
great. It's all great here. What do you mean? What are you talking about, Liam? It's all good, man.
It's all
The,
all
yeah,
good. All
nothing's
good in
wrong.
Mets
Nothing's
land.
wrong.
Nothing's wrong.
Oh, where to start? Okay. Yeah, I guess let's just hop right into it, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's
It's
really, really bad.
yeah, it's bad.
It's tough to think that the season's already over, but it really might be.
Yeah.
It really might be.
And it's crazy to think that not only is the season over for y'all, it's also potentially over for the Phillies as well. I'm like, I we got a comment on the clip that I posted today. Was a Phillies fan. I don't know if you saw that. He was like, at this point, I'm apathetic to this whole situation as well. I'm like, we, I gotta be honest, we gotta think about it and we gotta look at it. We were wrong.
Yeah,
I think we can both say that we were
yeah.
completely wrong. Now, is that our personal baseball knowledge or is that just
Everyone was wrong though. Everyone was
yeah,
wrong
everyone was
because
wrong.
everyone had the Phillies as at least second place. No
Yeah.
one thought that they were going to end up like this, and no one thought the Mets were going to end up like this. I mean,
Yeah.
let's to get into specifics of it all.
Hmm.
Uh, Played the Twins and then played
Yep.
the Rockies. You look at that on the schedule, you are salivating. You are like, okay, here we go.
100%.
Like, we'll get back into the standings a little bit. Maybe like a 4-2 week, maybe 5-1. Nope. They win the series against the Twins. I'll give them that. And then they followed up getting swept by the Rockies. So just really bad. And what sucks is that Lindor is on the IL,
Yeah.
and it's tough because he he left the game as soon as Juan Soto came back,
Yeah.
which is only which only pushes the narrative that they hate each other. Like, it's just funny. Obviously, that's not true.
Yeah.
At least not that instance, but it
Hmm.
is it's pretty funny that it happened that way. And it sounds like Lindor is going to be out for a while.
Hmm.
They're gonna evaluate him in, they said, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then there will be obviously an evaluation period from there, and have to be a ramp up. And if the Mets are out of it, how quickly do they rush him back? It's looking at like he could be out for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Would be my
Hmm.
guess. Which sucks, especially since he was kind of just heating up in that first game against the Twins. 3-run homer.
Yep.
McLean had a great game. And everything looked like it was going well. And then Devin Williams just completely just soils his pants. Like, I don't even know any other way to put it. Like, it was just like, I don't know. Maybe this guy just can't pitch in New York.
Yeah.
I really don't know, and I'm a big fan of his. I thought that he was so talented, and I think maybe just that Pete Alonso home run in 2024 just has ruined any type of self confidence that this guy has in himself, because he has not been the same at all. And so yeah, I think this was what, like maybe a 10-game losing streak for the Mets. It was, or 12. It was ugly, but
Yeah.
finally.
Eventually you got to win.
Finally, they
You
won.
figured it out. You finally figured it out.
April 22nd, a day that will live in infamy. Breaking breaking the losing streak, where they scored a whopping 3 runs.
Yep.
And Clay Holmes, to his credit, has been really good, and he's been really good since getting to the Mets.
Yeah.
They obviously tried him out as a starter last year. He kind of ran into a wall when it came into to innings, but
Mhm.
he's been really good. If you look at his stats since coming over to the Mets, it's a full season's worth is really, really good numbers. And then Luke Weaver just was nails, and that guy is so fun to have on your team. He just
Yeah.
has like such a fun personality. He's stickly guy, very very scrawny guy, but he has all the confidence in the world. You would never know it. And yeah, this was the game that Lindor got hurt and Juan Soto was back. They've only DH'd Soto to this point. I think they're kind of giving him some room to get back to 100%. Obviously, with the calf, it's kind of a tough thing to rush back, and so they're playing it really cautiously with Soto. And then we got to talk about Mark Vientos, dude. I mean, he ended up coming through offensively, but I don't know if you saw this, but he ran right through the third base coach's hole
Really?
and was out.
Really?
He was out by 6 feet, man. Like it was so bad. And then
Like, what's the point? What's the point of
I
third base coaches?
I honestly hate
I
this
don't
guy.
get it. I
He
don't
has
get
all the
players in
confidence in the world.
general. Like when they do that shit, it's like third base coaches. Like that's their job. That's
Dude,
like
he
literally
has
all
all
they
the
do.
confidence in the world for being so ass. Like he was so good in the 2024 postseason, and like he went to like Knicks games in the off seasons and was hot shit, and now he has just sucked for a year and a half. Like
Yeah.
he is just so awful. And in the press conference, this guy's just like, he just seems like a jerk. Like he was like, "Nah, man, it was my instincts. Like I just went, I saw it hit the wall, and I was like, screw it." And yeah, just no care at all that he hurt his team. Obviously, it's easier to have a little less care when you win the game and you are the one who delivers the big hit. The big
Yeah.
hit being like a bloop single, but baseball, that's baseball.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
But yeah, and then the next game they won, so that they took the series. They finally had an offensive outburst. They scored 10 runs. Bo Bichette had a huge hit, like thought it was the monkey off his back. He was going to start to really get going. Not the case, because they ran into a wall against the Colorado Rockies, man. Like it is so brutal.
Remind me again, who started these games for the Rockies?
Yeah, I mean Chase Dolander started
Yeah.
today, and he's actually really good. Like no Chase Dolander hate here, because he's been a top prospect.
Yeah.
But the other guys, Jose Quintana, revenge game in game one of the doubleheader.
Yeah.
So of course, he has his best outing, literally has his best outing since he's left the Mets. And then Michael Lorenzen's the other one who has just dominated the Mets throughout his career.
He really has. Yeah. And honestly, it's just that is just a series that you cannot get swept in, man. I'm like, it's just like
It's awful.
how is it that they are getting
It's awful.
beaten by just a AAA lineup?
So
Like
yeah, so today they had a doubleheader and they scored a total of 1 run in 18
one run.
innings.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, there was a big shakeup in the MLB that maybe we'll talk about later, with Alex Cora.
Yep.
I would love for him to take Carlos Mendoza's job. Get Carlos Mendoza out of here. And maybe it's not all on the manager, I think that's a pretty like basic take, to be like, team playing bad, must fire manager. But like
Yeah.
you need something. You need to change somewhere. They just DFA'd Tommy Pham tonight.
I saw
Which,
that.
like, all right, whatever. Like the guy was hitless and like
And
13
I
at-bats,
remember you
like,
said that you were hoping that Tommy Pham was going to
of
be the guy that
course,
was
you
going
think
to.
he's gonna. Well, yeah, he's like, he doesn't take crap from anyone, and so I thought he was gonna galvanize the team. Not the case. They DFA'd him. Just really bad, really bad.
So
It's
where do the Mets go from here? Like how
yeah,
can they
yeah.
how can they even potentially salvage any, like, is there a chance that they could like even get to 70 wins? I'm like, now we're
It's tough. It's tough. And the thing that has been kind of funny about it all is during the Rockies series, the pitching was really good. The bullpen was
yeah.
pretty good, other
Mhm.
than other than a few key innings. Like all you needed to do was score a few runs, and they couldn't do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an organizational thing. I don't know if they were better off running the team back from last year. Maybe they were at this point. It's just a lot of adjusting, I think, is what is coming down to it. It's a lot of new guys in the clubhouse, so that's a lot for the manager. It's a lot of new guys learning new positions. That's a lot for the players. And then it's like, the personality aspect, which we don't know about, and we will never know about being in an MLB clubhouse.
Well,
And that's
something
intangible.
that I got to ask you about is obviously, my former manager Brian Snicker, obviously inducted into the Braves Hall of Fame, and his son,
I
who
saw
is
that. I
currently
saw that.
currently your hitting coach. I'm like,
Yeah.
obviously he needs to be
Yeah.
on the chopping block because what is he
That was
doing?
that
I'm
was that
like,
was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool story. So for those
yeah,
who don't know, the Mets game got rained out on Saturday, very early, like Saturday, like 10 a.m. They called the game. It was raining
yeah.
all day in New York, and so Troy Snicker, Brian Snicker's son, who's on the Mets staff, was able to fly down and surprise Brian Snicker, which he wouldn't have been able to do if the Mets played.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's just a feeble effort right now, honestly. It's really sad. I went to the game on Friday, my first
Yeah.
first game of the season, and
What's the feeling? How's the feeling in the
ballpark was kind of
ballpark right?
empty. Like, what was it, Friday night? It was
Yeah.
not packed at all. It was a little chilly, like it was cold, so like maybe that kept some people home, but it was not. They made a little bit of an effort in the eighth inning to get within one run, and they did the same thing today in game one, but it was just it's not good. But the
How
only
much
good
how
thing
much is a
is,
ticket to the Mets
yeah, I was
game
gonna say
right
the
now?
only good thing is like it's very cheap to get into the Mets game right now.
How much was it? How much was your ticket to the Mets?
I think it was like $25 to sit in like the hundreds in the outfield. Like
Oh, okay.
it's pretty
Well, there
cheap.
you go. Well, there you
Pretty
go. I'm
cheap.
like,
You can
at
get
least
in.
you
You can
can.
get into the stadium for
Yeah.
like $8.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. I'm like, obviously, we can go on and on and on about what a crazy season this has kind of started off being, but I think realistically, yes, manager needs to be fired, changes need to be made,
Yeah.
and a mental shift needs to happen in this team because there's clearly a lot of egos in this clubhouse and no one is checking them.
I don't even know like where it's crazy because this team is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I am thinking about selling at the trade deadline, what can we get for Freddie Peralta, who's going to be a free agent? What can we get for Bo Bichette, who's going to be, who has a couple options? But if he keeps playing like this, he's going to opt in. Like,
Yeah.
the guy's OPS is lower than like 600 coming into
Yeah.
today's game. So it's crazy to think about, but it's definitely a reality for the Mets. But yeah, enough about the Mets. Let's jump into some happier moments for you, Liam.
I got to be honest, man. The Braves are a really really good baseball team, and it is incredible to say right now that we are the best team in baseball, and Ronald Acuna Jr. and Austin Riley have both been incredibly mediocre.
Does
Like
Acuna know that the season started, or
I,
is he
I don't
just
really I don't really know. I
what's his
honestly,
deal? Like, he kind of lit the world on fire during the WBC. He had the Venezuelan League. Like,
yeah.
everyone was really hyped about him. He's so back. He's not back.
He really is not back, and he got two hits today. I went to the game today, and but it's just like it's almost like a desperation from a fan
Hmm.
base, which is weird when you're 20-9. But it's just like as a fan base, I'm like, look, I got the guy on the back of my jersey. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, he's the favorite player. He is the guy, and man, I shouldn't be complaining, man. I shouldn't be complaining. Like
I was
this is
gonna
like,
say this is
but
champagne
yeah,
problems right
this
here.
is champagne problems, but it's just like every time Ronald Acuna gets a hit, especially when you're in that stadium, there's like this like sigh of relief.
Hmm.
It's like, oh,
Hmm.
the guy that we love so much, you finally did something. So I'm like, the guy barely has a 700 OPS right now. I think he's at like 230 average. So I don't really know. Obviously, we're hoping that he's going to find it. He did take some good swings today. He has done pretty well on the base paths. I think he's at 6 or 7 stolen bases right now.
Hmm.
But he has also gotten picked off 4 times. He's gotten caught 4 times in pickoffs, like really weird situations. So
Yeah,
almost
his
kind of
his
seems
his
it,
effort level just seems off,
so
and maybe
yeah,
it always is. And I'm not watching every single Braves game the way I am like the Mets, but just like from the outside perspective, it's just like he just seems like a me guy. He doesn't seem like a team guy,
yeah.
and that sucks because it seems like everyone else on the Braves is a team guy.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that he gets it started. I do not. Obviously, I would like to believe that obviously that clubhouse is tight, but then again, obviously not everybody's going to love each other. I think he's going to find it, but yeah, it's been tough. But yes, as you said, let's talk about the positives and two series wins. The Braves, I don't know if you saw MLB on Facts, the parody thing. They like hung a banner for haven't lost a series yet for the Braves. Yeah, you can make fun of it all you want, but we still have not lost a series, man. Like and this is the way that you win divisions, man. It's just like if you are continuously winning these important games, coming back. I think in the Nats and Phillies series, we had three comeback wins. You know what I mean? So you
That's
can feel
huge. That's
confident.
huge.
Yeah,
That is something that separates a winning ball club from a losing ball club. Honestly, like that is
yeah.
something that I see with the Mets all the time. That if they're down past the seventh inning, I'm like, oh, the game's over.
Yeah. So let's start with the Nats series. I'm like Bryce Elder in both the Phillies and Nats series. This guy, he won't stop, man. He won't stop. I'm like, it is just consistent ground ball baseball with this guy. And he's also getting a couple strikeouts here and there. He got two strikeouts in the game this series, and then that before, I think it was three or four strikeouts. His cutter is the main focal point right now. And we'll bring up some clips here. Bryce Elder's cutter, and I think I've talked about this before, Greg Maddux taught him his cutter, his new cutter in Arizona, and it has been his out pitch versus lefties. I think right now he has like a 160 average versus lefties right now. I think it might be even a little lower.
That's sick.
And like that is awesome for a right-handed pitcher that he is consistently confident that he's going to be getting lefties out and good lefties. He was getting Schwarber out in the Phillies series. He was getting Harper out in the Phillies series. He was getting Stott out. He was getting Marsh out. I'm like, he was consistently getting these lefties out who are the biggest weapons. And also with James Wood and CJ Abrams and Dalen Lyle, all of that. You know what I mean? Like, guys, when these lefties are not hitting in these lineups, and as we can say, in many ways, MLB is a lefty meta. You know what I mean? I'm like, some of the best
Mm.
players in our sport are lefties. It's just like that is what we need to see from him. And it's crazy because now Reynaldo Lopez, today it was announced that he's heading to the bullpen. He's had a
That's
lot of
right.
issues, mechanical issues that he's been dealing with. And now they've said, you know what? Bryce Elder has been so amazing. Strider is about to be back. Hey, J.R. Ritchie, like clearly this rotation is looking healthy for the most part, so we can send Reynaldo Lopez, and I feel confident that one or two innings from Reynaldo is going to be good, and hopefully that fixes it. And I do expect
It's
him
not
to
going to
come
be
back
like
to
a
the.
like, it's not going to be like a piggyback situation where he. My only thought is like he's just been a starting pitcher basically what his whole career. Like I feel like that
No, no, no.
routine
He
will
was a
be
reliever. He made that switch to starter similar to Clay. I was going to mention that similar to Clay
got it.
Holmes,
Okay,
who made that switch. It's the same thing. So he
yeah,
did make that switch with the Braves. So the Braves did put him in that role, and obviously he's been great. I'm like, but he has had some mechanical issues. Obviously, that last start versus the Phillies, he only went one inning. You know what I mean? So it's just like obviously there are some issues that he's dealing with, and I think that move to the bullpen, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that that's going to be great. So, first game, we took the one, offense explodes. Dominic and Gas help out, and, everyone just kind of scoring. The second, we lose. Ian Hamilton, who was on this, pitching staff for like 2 seconds, was terrible. Piam's also pretty brutal, but he's kind of turning around the last couple games. A Baldwin and Eli White homer in that game two
Baldwin,
versus the
man, he
National.
is like, is he top three catcher in baseball?
He is the best catcher in
Okay,
baseball.
yes. This season,
Yes,
statistically, yes, but like,
yes.
you wouldn't like if you're starting a team, you're taking Cal Raleigh over him.
Well, yes, please, please give me Cal
Yeah,
Raleigh on a silver platter.
right,
Yes,
right.
of course. But
Like,
it's just like
he
he
could be
is.
top three. It's
He's
probably
so consistent, and the fact that we have Jonah Heim and Sean Murphy is about to be back,
mhm.
I feel significantly more comfortable with him being the DH. Drake Baldwin as a catcher, I'm like, yes, he can block, but defensively, honestly, he just really is nothing special.
Right.
And I love Drake. No hate to Drake here, but he's just not a great defensive catcher. Sean Murphy, on the other hand, is an incredible defensive
Yeah.
catcher,
Yeah.
and so is Jonah Heim. You know what I mean? And so I feel very confident once Murphy gets back, Drake Baldwin is going to be just one catch per series. Murphy's going to be two. You know what I mean? He's going to be DHing. You know what I mean? And it's just so cool to see that. I genuinely think that as we see the shift and as the years go by, I really think that he is going to be the Braves DH
Hmm.
because I do think that having Murphy and, as I said, in previous podcasts, I would be okay getting rid of him and, Jonah Heim, who I will say has found his bat a little bit. He has gotten a couple hits here and there, but he's just amazing, man. He got another two hits today when I was at the game. I'm like, it's been great. But man, we got to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, more in
Hmm.
depth. But Michael Harris, bro, Michael Harris, I talked about it. What was that? The first or second episode? I was like, a good Michael Harris, if he can find the zone, man, if he's not swinging at crazy pitches and he can just lock in, which he has ever
Hmm.
since his wife Esther gave birth to their new baby boy Trip. It has been
Trip.
nothing.
I
Trip, what a
love
name.
that.
Trip. Like, he has been incredible, bro. Two-homer game for him against the Nationals in that game 3. Harris was removed in the seventh in game 4, and you're like, oh my God, he's super
Right.
hot. Like, it was only like made like a slight quad strain, but then in
He's
game
back
one,
in. Yeah, he was back
yeah,
in.
he's back in, and then that pinch hit was one of the coolest things that I've seen as a Braves fan in the last couple years. It's 3-2. He comes in, you're like, oh, obviously it's just matchups and is he hurt, and then he just delivers with that two-run double,
I mean,
man. And
he was pretty hot to end last year. I know like the first half, like All Star
yeah.
break, he was pretty dreadful, but the
Mhm.
last half of the season, he was pretty great.
Yeah.
Like he put up some really really good numbers, so it's not super surprising to see it. Obviously, I think can he sustain it over a season, a whole season? That's the question. Can he get
Yeah.
back to form of what was it, his rookie year that he was like
Yeah.
amazing? Um, but I mean, right now he's just he's lighting it on fire.
Yeah, man. And it's just that pinch hit and then him just being taken out. And it's just, I got to talk about Walt Weiss. Man, he has just been the gift that has been kept on giving. I would say a lot of Braves fans, like, because the Braves fans were torn when he was hired.
Hmm.
Half of the fan base was like, oh, internal hire, it's good. He knows the players. Obviously,
Right.
Snicker had a lot of trust in him, and they were feeling like, but then the other half was like, oh, new potential shiny manager, new thoughts, new ideas. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't go get Mark DeRosa, you know what I mean? Or, someone else.
Yeah.
And
I
it
think a
was
lot of
just,
people were concerned that it would be like Snicker 2.0. Like it would be a
yeah,
lot of
very
Snicker
much. And I
influence and
honestly was kind of on that train.
you were.
And
You were.
it has not been Snicker 2.0.
Yeah.
And it's not just because he tackled Jorge Soler. Yes, that was cool.
Right.
But he is making very cognizant decisions. It is very clear that he has a game plan for
Mm.
most games. And I honestly think I love Snicker and congratulations on his Hall of
You
Fame.
love Snicker.
Yeah, love Snicker.
Oh, okay,
Obviously,
sure.
congratulations on his Hall of Fame induction. But I honestly felt like sometimes when Snicker would go into games, he was just kind of winging it. We'll see what happens. Trust the pitchers
Now,
a
is
little
that
bit too
when you
long.
talk about Weiss? Is that more so with like bullpen management? Is it pinch hitting? What or is it lineups? Like what exactly are you seeing?
He's not afraid to make lineup changes day to day. He has a lot of trust in Ozzy, who has delivered for him. He has over 300, another kind of underrated guy that a lot of people are honestly not really talking about right now. Ozzy Albies is quietly having one of his best years in multiple years,
Hmm. Hmm.
multiple seasons. He's doing super well, and he moved Ozzy up a little bit, move Austin down. Moving
Which
Austin,
I think like this needs to be talked about more because it's easy to leave your lineup when it's doing so well. You don't want to tinker with anything. Guys are so call it what you will, like superstitious or
yeah.
they just fit into the three hole and they don't want to move. A credit to them, a credit to Weiss and the players to be so, you know, malleable, honestly. Like to be so able and willing to just play wherever and continue to produce is not something that every team would be able to do, I don't think.
Yeah, honestly not. And the fact that in all three facets of what I obviously a manager does, he constructs the lineup, he does bullpen management, he pinch hits, and obviously he's a voice of reason and, motivates his players. And it seems like the players really have a lot of confidence in Weiss. They feel confident that he's going to be making the right decisions. And that pinch hit for Michael was one of his best decisions. You know what I mean? I'm like, I 100% believe that any player in the major leagues are like, I'm fine, I can go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And usually a manager is going to be more cautious. You know what I mean? They don't want to row the boat because, like, what happens if Michael would have tweaked something? You know what I mean?
Right.
But Weiss needs to win games. It's clear that no matter what happens, he's going to go out there and do what's best to win baseball games. And clearly that's what he's doing because we have the most wins in the major leagues at 20. And clearly it's working. And listen, once again, hey Phillies fans, it's your boy Liam again. Just to reiterate myself, y'all suck. And it is like y'all suck. And I am so sick and tired of all of these Phillies fans acting like this lineup is somehow good because it's not.
Are people
And
acting like it's good? Are people
Phillies
defending the
fans,
Phillies? Really?
I feel like there's still some Phillies fans trying to hold on to hope that somehow they're going to turn their season around. Phillies fans, your season is over. Along with the Mets, no disrespect, I love you, but it's over for both of y'all. It's over. Y'all can't come back from this. The season is over, and
Dude, you're gonna end up on
realistically,
freezing cold takes
no,
if
no,
they
I'm
turn
not
it
ending up
around.
on
Like,
free. I'm not ending up on freezing cold takes. Realistically, the Braves, we gave y'all a year off. Okay, we let y'all, the Phillies
oh,
fans,
let
y'all,
let you.
yeah, we let you because this is our division, and now we're back, and we're the best team in baseball, and this is what it feels like, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Go Braves.
Right,
Next,
right.
next. Okay. Let's talk about some of the other people in the NL East.
All right,
Okay,
we
let's
can move
start with the
on to
Marlins.
yeah. Let's
Let's
start
start
with
with
the
the Marlins.
Marlins.
Okay. Have you? I honestly have not really gotten a chance to kind of focus super heavily on the Marlins but they started with the Cardinals. They
The Marlins are
Cardinals have
sneaky. I don't know. The Marlins are sneaky. They have some
yeah,
pieces like Xavier Edwards, Otto Lopez, Augustin Ramirez, Jacob Marcy. They have
yeah,
Stowers. Like they are going to be good. It just won't be this season. But what you want to
they
see
won't.
from the Marlins are step forward from these guys. And one of the big ones is Augustin Ramirez, who up until probably last week, this past week, has been
Yeah,
really disappointing. You're expecting a lot from him. He's kind of like the Drake Baldwin type in the sense that
yep, mhm,
catcher, but not great defensively, and
yep.
so they DH him a lot. And what you wanted to see was a step forward. And up until this past week, you haven't really seen that. But I think 800 OPS is fully within his capabilities. He's got some
100%.
speed, like
Hmm.
he's sneaky fast, and he had a great game one where they won. And Max Meyer pitched, which I'm a big Max Meyer guy. He has a lot of
Oh yeah,
prospect type.
he did.
And
Yeah. Mhm.
so, he's had some injuries as every pitcher, obviously does.
Mhm.
But it seems like he's got
Yeah,
it.
I'm like,
He's got it.
listen, he's a viable member of the rotation, and that's all that you can really ask from what we would consider a lower level team. But now we're looking at the possibility that the Nationals and the Marlins are they going to be fighting for second in the NL East? I'm like, this is a really unique position for the Nationals and the Marlins to be in because they have not had an opportunity like this.
Yeah.
And listen, you don't win anything for being second in the NL East, especially since a lot of the rest of the National League is quite good. And I don't think they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot per se, but then they could 100% be depending on what we're looking at in the middle of the season, and if Otto Lopez, if Augustine Ramirez, if these guys, Xavier Edwards are kind of making big impacts for them, they could be looking at a year that they were not expecting,
Hmm.
and this could be super exciting. So, first game, they take the W against St. Louis. Second game, realistically, every time you see Paddock starting for this
Ugh.
team, they're going to lose. He sucks.
Just awful. Like
Like,
you have so
yeah,
like what is your excuse? The only thing that I can think of is that I think he's like the third highest paid player on that team at like $4 million. like
yeah,
when you get paid you kind of play.
yeah.
But dude, bring up Robbie Snelling. Bring up
Truly,
like bring
it's just like,
it's not
yeah,
like
it's
they
just
have
lazy.
people in the minors that aren't capable of coming up. Like
Yeah,
Robbie Snelling is a top prospect. Thomas White, the same thing. Like
yeah,
we want to see these guys, especially if this is a year where you're not going to compete, but you want to see some flashes. And
yeah.
it's like bring Robbie Snelling up, let him make a few starts. If he sucks, set him back down. He has options, no worries. But like give him a chance because you're trotting Paddock out every fifth day. You can pencil in a loss basically.
Yeah, he's not winning baseball games, and he's not
Awful.
putting them in a position to really compete at all. And it just kind of sucks because you realistically you want this team to be competitive,
Hmm.
to at least you know someone has to give my Braves some sort of competition, because realistically, if there isn't any
You're
competition, and this is
cocky today. You are cocky
no, but
today.
I'm not trying to. That's not me in that specific instance. I'm talking about devil's advocate in this instance.
Right.
If there's no competition on the Braves, if the entire NL East just continues to kind of fall back and isn't really, I'm like, even if we do kind of have a tough August per se, I'm like, we're going to be so far ahead. I'm like, and realistically, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
And we want the NL East to be interesting because we have an NL East podcast. You know what I mean? So
Of
we
course. Yeah, it would
we
be
we
boring if it
want
was just the
we I
Braves just
like I
killing everyone.
yeah. So but yeah. So it was a loss for Paddock, and then one of my favorite names in the major leagues, Jason Junk.
Jansen Junk.
Jansen, excuse me,
Jansen.
Jansen Junk. What a name, Junk. I'm sure he was made fun of it in
Of
high school for
course.
that
I'm
for
sure he
that
still
last name.
is.
But great back-to-back games for Marcy. He has honestly had a really, really rough year. So a couple back-to-back days with RBIs, four for that series was great for him. Junk had 5 innings. He really not only, his last name is not only Junk, but he also throws junk. So the fact that he got, 5 innings out of that was great. And then Fairbanks, gets his fifth save as a Marlin to kind of finish off that series. And then, they went to San Francisco. And it was, San Francisco has obviously kind of been a weird team with their managerial situation, but they get that win. And honestly, the best player on this Marlins team has been, same name as me, Liam Hicks. Man, he has been awesome. 885 OPS, 24 RBIs, 5 homers for him, and they got him for scraps. They got him in the Rule 5 draft from Detroit in 2024. You know what I mean? And that is just almost nothing for him. You know what I mean? And so it's just the fact that he is having an awesome year. He can
Yeah,
play
he's been
multiple.
great. He's
He
been
can play
great.
multiple positions, catcher and first base, and obviously also has that DH capability as well. You know what I
It's
mean?
yeah,
And
it's so
yeah,
weird, like, because this is the game that Sandy started,
yep.
and it's so weird. He is one of those pitchers that just is still able to go a lot of innings, even when he sucks. Like they just let him just ride it out.
They're kind of like, hey, buddy, we need
Yeah,
innings.
we need you
So
to soak up some innings, and like we want to rest our bullpen. So like he gave up 3 runs, but 9 hits, but he still went 6 innings. Like and a lot of
yes,
hard contact, which is a little concerning. He's kind of taken a step back from the first couple starts where we were like, okay, maybe Cy Young Sandy is back. He's kind of taken a step back a little bit. He's kind of come back down to earth, but obviously not good enough. 9 hits, 6 innings, not going to do it. They won the game, surprisingly, but
yep.
Sandy needs to be better. And then game two, I'm really disappointed in Yuri Perez.
Me too, man.
Coming
It's
into the
kind of
season,
sucks, dude.
I was so high on Yuri Perez.
I
I
was
thought
too. I was too. We talked
I
about
thought,
this
yeah,
rotation, man.
I thought he was on the same level as like McLean, Schlittler, like these guys, these guys that are super young but just so talented that you have to put them above like their ceiling is so high. Their floor might not be as high as some other guys, but the just like the stuff that they have, you could put them as a top 25, 30 pitcher, and he just hasn't looked like that. It's just I don't know. He's too wild, and maybe he needs to talk to Sandy a little bit, because one thing about Sandy, when he's on, he has so much control of all of his pitches. He's not walking anybody, and not giving up hard contact. So obviously, wasn't great in Detroit, but like, Yuri Perez, he still could turn it around, but I've been not very encouraged by his start so far. And then today they took the lead, early lead 3-0,
Yeah.
but they just gave it all back. I think it was Max Meyer coming today, and I like him, but Landon Raup is the Giants pitcher that started, and he was pretty good.
He was
Pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah,
He
yeah.
allowed
Yes.
those 3 runs like early in the game, and I thought maybe
Graham
they'd have a short
Graham
leash.
Pauly with a 3-run homer. Yeah.
I thought he'd have like a short leash, but no, they let him cook for nearly 8 innings. So
Yeah.
tough series for the Marlins, but on to the next, for the Marlins. And remind me, who do they play?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take a look in here.
Dodgers.
Oh,
That's a tough one.
boy.
In LA,
Yeah,
Dodgers,
they get
yeah.
they have to go to LA and play the Dodgers, and then they come home to play the Phillies.
Right.
So, and that is going to be a really interesting series versus the Phillies, because it's just like, obviously the Phillies have really been struggling, have really not won a bunch, and the Marlins have had a better season than the Phillies, have definitely had some hitters that are definitely delivering in more clutch situations, or just getting out to early leads. I think Xavier Edwards has like 5 or 6 first inning RBIs. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
Dude,
they
yikes.
are.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at their their matchups. They go to LA
Yeah.
to face Yamamoto tomorrow, Otani Tuesday,
Ugh.
Glass now Wednesday. So that might be an 0-3 trip for them.
Yeah.
That's
I don't.
really, really
Maybe
tough.
Glass now.
I don't know. Glasnow's been so good this year.
Yeah.
Sandy's going up against him, so hopefully it's a pitcher's duel. We love a pitcher's duel on the pod.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not looking great. Yeah, let's move on to the team that you kind of alluded to, the Philadelphia Phillies. It kind of felt like the sky was falling for the Mets, at least on baseball Twitter, and everyone wanted to talk about the Mets, but no one wanted to talk about the Phillies.
They really didn't. They really didn't. And they had lost 10 games in a row. And
Yeah.
all I could see in those comments was like, where are the national stories on the Phillies right now? Like,
Everyone wants to make fun of the Mets, but like the Phillies got swept by the Cubs, 4-game sweep by the Cubs, and honestly, nothing really stood out. Nola struggled, but that's kind of just like what
struggled today
2026
too.
Nola is,
Yeah.
It's like they just don't have any juice. They just don't have any juice. Game 1, loss. Game 2, loss. Game 3, loss. Game 4, loss. And Game 4 was the most competitive of them all. They went into extras. But, still just not able to get that win. And let's talk about Game 3, actually, because Game 3, they had a opener for Taijuan Walker, who has struggled in the first inning pretty much his entire career. I remember when he was on the Mets, and I was like, man, if this guy could just start the game in the second inning. This is kind of before the Mets kind of used an opener.
Yeah.
And he had always struggled, and coming into this start, he struggled to a tune, or maybe this was after the start. He has a 25 ERA in the first inning in 4 games. So he's given up 11 runs in 4 innings. That's awful.
That is really bad.
That's awful. And so they started with an opener, and they tried it. Didn't work.
Did not work.
Did not work. Taijuan Walker, thanks for what you did. Your 4 for 72 contract is crazy. And guess what? You are now unemployed. DFA'd by the Phillies right after the game, maybe the morning after. I texted one of my Phillies friends, and he was like, "Thank God." This was like the reaction if like the Mets got rid of Mendoza or something. It's like, oh my goodness, like what we have been waiting for. And so when he signed that contract, I think
Yeah, like there's
everyone
yeah, a
was
little,
like,
everyone was like, "Wow,
"What?
okay." And listen,
What?"
that is another thing that I think we need to talk about. Spending money to just spend money, which yes, I think the Mets definitely did a little bit better of a job in the offseason, obviously brought guys in, but sometimes I do think that the Mets also kind of get in that groove of spending money to
Yeah,
spending money.
spending money does not equal wins.
It really does not. Clearly it does.
You're
Clearly
seeing
it
it.
does
You're seeing
not.
it firsthand. Phillies, Mets, spending money does not equal wins at all in baseball. Maybe in other sports, because maybe, the NBA, the NFL, you can get away with it a little bit more. But man, I mean, maybe it does work because we're, the Dodgers, but they're the exception to the
Yeah,
rule.
well, unfortunately, they're spending money
They are the
on
exception to the
very good
rule
on very good
because,
players.
yeah,
Yeah,
because the Mets and Phillies have been so disappointing. And then, after their 4 game sweep, they played the hottest team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. We kind of went over it a little bit already. Game 1, loss. Game 2, the streak is over.
the streak was over,
Big,
and
big.
honestly, the streak came to an end because of my favorite Braves pitcher, Jose Suarez. Came in the 10th inning, and man, the dude couldn't find the zone, and the Phillies, the Bryce Harper finally got that single
Hmm.
that got those 2 runs in, and they snuck a couple other runs, and it was just it was good win by them. I will say that Mother Nature was kind of brutal during that second game. You know what I mean? And I will
Okay,
say that
okay. We're not making excuses for the best team in baseball. Let's settle down there. Um, Game 2 was huge for the
yeah,
Phillies because that
it
was
was
their one bright spot was Zach Wheeler is back. And
100%.
I don't know about you, I was really worried about him because the results in the minors were not great.
It
And
really
this
wasn't. Yeah.
this surgery is a bit trickier than Tommy John thoracic outlet surgery. It's a little trickier, and usually the recovery time or like the return to like greatness is longer than Tommy John. Tommy John, since it's a surgery that's so common these days, there's more information about on recoveries, and
Mhm.
most pitchers are better after Tommy John.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was really nervous for Zach Wheeler, but honestly, the fastball looked really good.
It looked amazing, man. And we struggled. We struggled. It
Yeah.
was difficult. And I will say we did have that 4th inning where we made him get up to almost, I think it was 30 or 35 pitches. And he did struggle, but he only gave up 2 runs, and he kept it close. And for the most
Right.
part, we did kind of go quiet. The Braves have struggled, in back end of games a little bit, in some of the games, the last couple ones. And so the Phillies kept it close. And then obviously they got it to extras and they made it happen.
Yeah, it's like you look at the line: 5 innings, 2 runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. It's not great. It's not a great line. I'm not here to tell you that it is, but his fastball velocity was back to normal, which was the big concern in the minor leagues while he was rehabbing that injury. And so I, I'm a big fan of Zach Wheeler. I wanted the Mets to re-sign him. Obviously, he has all this potential. It seems like he's pitching like once he finishes this contract, he's kind of talked about hanging it up for
Yeah.
good. And
Hmm.
so, if there's a healthy Zach Wheeler, I am happy, even
Hmm.
if he plays for the Phillies. But they could not continue the success in Game 3, obviously, because they
They
faced
could
Chris
not.
Sale, and Chris Sale's pretty good. Congratulations to Chris Sale, by the way, 150th win,
Yep.
which is kind of
28th all time in strikeouts. Now,
crazy because here's the thing, like no pitcher is going to get to 300 wins in our lifetime again.
yeah.
It's just not. Like that used to be like, if you got to 300 wins you're a Hall of Famer. It's like you need some different requirements for the Hall of Fame now because I don't see any pitchers getting to 300 wins. I mean, Sale is what, 36, 37 years old?
Yeah. I'm like, he's almost 40. I'm like, he's almost 40. He's almost
Like,
there.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he
yeah.
only has a few more years, and so it's just like an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, and listen, it's difficult, man. I will say one of my favorite moments of that game, and obviously as I alluded to, I was at the game today, and in the 3rd inning, Chris Sale was having a little bit of control issues. He was a little wild. He got hit, and then a couple walks, walked the bases loaded, and then got got Schwarber, and then it was Harper. And Harper, we got to talk about it, man. I'm like, yes, he has the last couple days. Obviously, he had that single to get them that win, and then he did have a homer in game one, man. But for the most part, I'm like, it is just been lackadaisical, man. He looks so dejected. It is, but as I was alluding to, so in the third inning, he got it. He got it, bases loaded, 2 outs, and Sale was still wild. You know what I mean? 3-0. You know what I mean? And it was like, this is the moment for Bryce. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Bryce can get a hit. Bryce can be smart with this at bat. He's 3-0. And Sale just comes in, man, and just three straight absolute
He's nasty.
amazing pitches.
He's nasty.
And he is one of the few guys in the major leagues where it's just like in that moment where you're not that far into your start. You know what I mean? You're still in the third inning, and a big hit there can potentially knock you out of the game. And he just locks in because he knows he has 6 innings in him. And the fact that he comes in and makes three amazing pitches to get Harper, and I just look over when he struck out, and Harper honestly looked like what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like it's just like it
Sale's one of
was.
those guys. Sale's just one of those guys,
Yeah, he
like
really is. And let's talk about our last member of the NL East here, the Washington Nationals. Obviously, we alluded to the fact that they played the Braves, and obviously they lost that series 3-1. We got to talk about the weird situation in Game One with Irvin and Acuna.
mm,
Super quickly, that was really weird. I'm like, I made that tweet, do you got beef? Obviously, I do not believe that Irvin was throwing intentionally when that was happening. Was he? I don't really know. It was a weird situation, but he hit Acuna twice, and Acuna took exception, but Acuna always takes exception. I'm like, the
yeah, that
dude,
guy's
like, yeah,
he's
he
an
he
emotional dude.
he is. But it just like it was a weird situation. Part of me was like, is Irvin a little bit mad? Is he a little bit frustrated? I'm not really sure, but at the end of the day, that was kind of a weird situation. And, it just didn't really work out. Moving on, offense, the game two, they got the win. The offense finally broke out for 11. Luis Garcia, who has really been, an awesome, awesome kind of player for them this year, had 5 hits and 3 RBIs in the Braves series. So clearly an important component to this Nationals team this
And
year.
and we got to talk about
Mhm.
Foster Griffin real quick, who
Oh
started
yeah,
game two.
clearly
Former
the
first
ace. Clearly
former
the
first
ace.
round pick,
Yeah.
mind you, of the Royals.
Mhm.
He struggled in the majors, went to Japan for a few years, and is now back. And
Yeah.
he looks so good.
Incredible.
I'm like, if the Nats, wanted to move him at the deadline, they could probably get a decent amount for him. He had two really good starts this week. One against the Braves, which is tough to do. They're
Yep.
pretty good this year. Got the
Mhm.
win, and then today as well, 7 innings
Seven
against the
innings.
White Sox is pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And so he's kind of under the radar. He's not young. He's a 30-year-old pitcher who's back from Japan, but
Mhm.
gotta give him some shine. And dude, James Wood he might have just like made an adjustment and is now this good.
Yeah.
I know when we started the season, I was like, okay, like, hot streak here and there, but he's been really just keeping it up. Like he is perennial top 5 MVP candidate right now.
Yeah, and he's competing with the best players in baseball. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm like, when you look at Aaron Judge and you look at James Wood, I'm like, those stat lines are very similar right
Yeah.
now. And like he is hitting really well. I honestly do not care who it is against. I'm like, he's tied with Judge for sixth in OPS. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude.
Obviously,
His savant page is nasty.
red is
It's
red.
it's it's nasty. Like
Yeah.
the exit velo is crazy. The bat speed is unreal. Like he just has such raw talent in that frame. He's gonna be really good for a really long time.
Yeah, obviously, I'm like, I think we can all confidently say that James Wood is not going to have a W on his helmet for the rest of his career. I'm like, Eventually,
I
he's
don't
going to be
know. I
playing.
don't
He's going to
know.
be
I think
playing
that I
for a
mean
different team.
the Nats have some like they have some building blocks. Why not? Why not be the guy in Washington? He doesn't seem like he has a huge ego. He seems like a really down to earth
But
guy.
I don't think
He
it's
might
about
want to
the ego,
build something,
man.
but he might
Yeah.
want to build something in Washington. It's not like Washington hasn't given out big contracts in the past. Obviously now it's like a new leadership and so who knows, but like
So you feel confident that
I mean, I
Wood
don't
is
feel
going to stick
confident,
around?
but the guy's 23 years old. Like they have him
Yeah.
under control for probably like 4 or 5 more years. Like he could be the guy.
Yeah. Well,
Him,
obviously,
Abrams,
yeah.
Lyle, like they have something working here.
Yeah, and listen, game four, Cavalli had a great day against the Braves. 5 innings, 10 Ks. I was like, man, I'm like, this guy is looking really, really good. I'm like, we could not hit him. And then just unfortunately, Gus Varland, whatever his name is, absolutely terrible in
Yeah.
the back end of the bullpen. I'm just giving it up. It just kind of sucks because clearly this Nationals team has some absolutely insane hitters
Mm-hmm.
that like on any team not named the Nationals that have a more competitive pitching staff would clearly be making headlines, but unfortunately they're not. And I think right now it's just important for them to keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going, hoping that maybe they are in that second place spot. They continue to win games, and maybe they're in the point where the Nationals add maybe they add at
I
the
don't know. I think
deadline.
I think that might be a little ambitious. I don't know. I mean, like you got to look at who they've played. They got a big series win against the White Sox. I will say that. And
Yeah.
it's impressive to win 2 games back to back in extra innings, and they were able to do that.
Hmm.
But I don't know about adding. I don't think that fits. Even if they are doing well, if they're ahead of schedule, I don't think that fits into their long term plan. Like they definitely have some guys on expiring contracts that they would love to flip for probably some prospects.
Well, one of the cooler things, the Nationals did something that you do not see every day. They got 4 strikeouts in 1 inning. We'll pull up the clip here. Irvin, who got that first strikeout of that inning, and it was a pass ball, and then there was a throwing error, and then he got 2 more strikeouts, and then the oh my God, who was the lefty? Parker, excuse me. Parker came in and got that final K. So they got 4 strikeouts in 1 inning. So they can put that one on the wall, but that was pretty good. Nasmin Nunez, I hope I said that correctly.
Nasim
Who
Nunez.
is it? Asim or
Nasim.
Nasim?
Nassim. This guy is just
But
like
but
he's
it's
like Jose
Nasmin. Okay, that's
Caballero.
not my fault.
He's like Jose Caballero light. Like you know what you're getting from this guy. He is
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
total speedster, and you're really not getting anything else. Like you are. I don't know. I mean, he had a
yeah. He
good
had some
game,
pretty, honestly, pretty
obviously.
brutal defense. Not
Right.
definitely not as good defense as Jose Caballero, but yes, like he got some good RBIs, 4 RBIs in that game too, and they got them the win. And then as we alluded to in that final game that got them the series win, Griffin 7 innings shutout. The drama of this game kind of really happened in the extra innings. It was only a 2-1 win. I'm like, it was a homer from Tanya and then a sacrifice fly from Abrams, and then shout out Richard Lovelady got the win.
Yeah. Shout out, Richard Lovelady. I can't wait for the revenge game against the Mets this week. Richard Lovelady. He's gonna dominate the Mets probably.
Okay, super quickly, I'm like, do I need to ask you a panic level?
It's. I wouldn't call it panic. I wouldn't call it panic. I think it's just settling in that the season might be over already. That
Hmm.
I, for 6+ months, wanted baseball to be back so badly, and I would talk about it every day to you, to my family, to everybody about how excited I am for this season, and the fact that it just might be over is really sad because no matter what, I'm gonna watch the Mets. I'm gonna support the Mets, but the idea that, like I said earlier, the idea that we might be selling at the deadline, that I'm thinking about that and it's not even May, is kind of crazy. I think the one thing that I just need to happen is Mendoza to be fired, and I don't even
Yeah.
know if that's the right. I don't think that move will fix everything, but if it means that you can get Alex Cora, then yes, absolutely. Like
Hmm.
absolutely you do that. I don't understand how David Stearns could look himself in the mirror and think that this team is better off with Carlos Mendoza than it is with Alex Cora.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can. And at some point, like, dude, Steve Cohen needs to stop tweeting. I know this was a few weeks ago, but he keeps saying like green shoots and like, calm down. And it's like, dude, your team's bad. And
Yeah.
outside of that home run from Pete Alonso in 2024, like, you have a losing baseball team for about 3 years in a row. Like, if they got kicked out of the wild card, in the first round, you're talking about a bad baseball team for now 3-ish years in a row.
Yeah.
And at one point, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I have done a bad job at constructing this team. I've done a bad job at getting coaches, to uplift and inspire our players. And maybe you just have too many guys with egos in there, because I just don't know what it is. Like, it's something that is pretty unique to the Mets, where the Mets can get a star player and they just don't perform.
Yeah.
It just really doesn't happen in any other franchise. Like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, other than like, Anthony Rendon, who hates baseball, it's like, what, most big contracts, at least for the first half of
Yeah.
the big contract, like, they're at least like competent, like.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that these guys haven't been, but like, you signed Bo Bichette to a $42 million deal this year, and that's without the implications of the luxury tax that Steve Cohen is paying. You expect him to bring this clutch gene that he had in Toronto last year and throughout his whole career, and same thing with Simeon, and they just haven't. Like, it's mind-boggling. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is when they get to the Mets that they just decide, you know what, we're good. We're just not going to be good anymore. We're just gonna phone it in and collect our check. And I don't think that's what it is, but that's certainly how it feels right now.
Yeah.
And it's just it's tough to be a Mets fan. Check in on your Mets fans,
Yeah.
because it's not fun over here.
Well, even though I'm cocky and do have current reason to be, obviously, I'm always gonna, I'm one of the few Braves fans that, for the most part, when I do open my MLB app, I do hope for a win, because that's,
That's
obviously
kind.
our friendship
A
and
pity
the
a
fact.
pity win.
Yeah, but then again, I also don't really hate the Mets. I'm honestly, like, even before you, it's always been the Phillies for me. I'm like it. I have honestly really never particularly hated the Mets.
I can't say the same. I've
Yeah.
always hated the
I
Braves.
know, I know, I know, and you've told me that pretty much
Always.
our entire
Yeah.
friendship. My panic level is 0. We're gonna
Yeah,
win a
okay,
World
moving
Series.
on.
Um,
Like, who cares?
my player of the series, as I said, just super quickly, Michael Harris, 15 for 29, and that's the Philly series, National Series. And then the Philly series again, 3 homers, 11
An
RBIs.
insane week for Money
It's just
Mike.
amazing
Insane.
week. Michael Harris, I love you, man. Keep going, keep doing your thing. You're a great dad. You're a great person. Go Money Mike.
Player of the week for me, it's mostly just like a moment of the week, I'll say. We were talking earlier. Liam has never even heard of this guy, and if
I
you're
don't know who
listening
it
and
is.
you haven't heard of this guy, like, I can't blame you, honestly. Um, Austin Warren, because he is probably the last guy on the relief staff for the
Mhm.
Mets, because he actually got sent down afterwards
Right.
after this appearance. But Devin Williams walked 3 in the top of the ninth of a 3-3 game, and the Twins took the lead 5-3, and so they brought in Austin Warren, who, up until last week, or probably the off season, I didn't know who Austin Warren was. I was a casual like that, and Austin Warren just dominated. And this guy does not have overpowering stuff. It's not like this guy's throwing 103 miles per hour. But he was like, Devin Williams was so bad that the crowd was sarcastically cheering for him anytime he threw a strike. And at one point he started getting MVP chants. That's how bad it is for the Mets right now. The relief pitcher who took over for this supposed stud closer is
Oh,
getting MVP
man.
chants. And so it was a cool moment, for Austin Ward. He was so cool, in the post game interview. I'm sure nothing like this has ever happened to him before.
Yeah.
So cool moment, and got to give him his flowers. And he got called back up for the doubleheader today and actually pitched well. And so, yeah, a look ahead for the Mets. Once again, you look at the schedule and you think, okay, like, time to get back. We're facing the Nats, and then we go out to LA and face the Angels, and there is the confidence level for me is a big fat zero right
Yeah.
now. The Nats have been really good offensively, and they've just been giving up a lot of runs on the pitching side of things. And that scares me because the Mets haven't been able to score runs.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm expecting a Dickie Lovelady revenge game. I'm expecting, multiple scoreless innings for Dickie Lovelady. Curious if he will get a, and you might think this is crazy. Curious if he might get a tribute video for Dickie Lovelady, because he pitched for the Mets for like a little bit. Like it's not like he was just like a couple appearances. Like
Yeah.
they had a love affair with Dickie Lovelady.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we'll see. Game 1 tomorrow. Zach Littell. He has been horrific. He has
Yeah.
been so bad. So if there's any game to really just get the offense going again, it is against Zach Littell. And
Yeah.
so we'll see. I have zero confidence, as I said. But of course, at 7 p.m., I will be sat on my couch watching this game.
Per usual. Well, very loyal fan. Looking ahead,
Unfortunately,
we face the Tigers at home, who've been interesting. They have kind of been mid. I'm like, obviously they beat the Royals, they swept the Royals, then they a split two in Boston. They won a series against the Brewers, then they lost a series against the Reds. So it's kind of been inconsistent. I'm
you
like,
guys
I
are
will
kind of
say,
running into some really good pitchers, though.
yeah, yeah. So
My
yeah.
Scooble, Framber Valdez, like that is pretty formidable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Definitely some good pitchers. Definitely going to be a good challenge for the Braves. I'm like, I'd be perfectly fine with just a win. I'm like, at this point, if this continued, the series wins, they breaks. Lucky for us, it is the Colorado Rockies on the
Oh,
back end.
the buzzsaw, the Colorado Rockies. Whoa, whoa, let's not get it twisted. They are a competitive team.
Yeah, we're gonna sweep them. So I
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably. Okay, guys.
yeah.
Well, this has been episode 8 of Division Therapy. Please follow on Spotify. That's the best thing that you can do. Listen to this whole thing. Please
Interact with us.
comment.
We
Yeah.
love the smoke. I mean, I can't have any, I don't have anything to come back with as a Mets fan right now because I'm 6 feet under. But come at Liam. Come at Liam. Let Liam dish it out because I can't do anything. But
But yeah, guys, this has been Division Therapy. Peace.
peace.